Hello all. You know the Lord has hit us over the head with a 2x4, and we are learning how to stream video now and send it out to you. So while we are all suffering with the side effects of this coronavirus, one of them social distancing, we're gonna give it a shot and see if we record my Sunday messages and then email them to you, and then we're going to post them to a link eventually on our website as well. And we will also be exploring how to video record our worship services on Sundays in the future, so that when we do come back together in our sanctuary, we will record them and then send them out and post them to our website as well. And I hope and pray that you might see some value in our efforts to reach out to all of you and to provide a way to keep in touch with you and all the members of our church family here in Florida, and with those who are joining us as snowbirds every year as well. I know you know this already, but I miss you. I love you. And I hope that you all remain safe and healthy and happy while we all try our best to adhere to the recommendations of the CDC. Your health, of course, and your safety is our number one goal here, and that's what I pray for each day. But recently, your church council got together. We got together and we formulated some plans to connect with you during Holy Week. So please listen carefully now. And all these plans are grounded, of course, upon the CDC's recommendations with regard to social distancing, and we know that they may change again, but these are our tentative plans. First, on Palm Sunday, we will open our doors. We will open our doors in sanctuary from 10 o'clock in the morning to noon, a couple hours, and we will provide some palm fronds and our narthex, and of course we will limit 10 or less people to come in at a time, and to sit in the sanctuary here, if you wish, and to pray. Maybe have some meditation time if you wish. And then on Good Friday, the doors will be open again from noon to 6 p.m., a longer time. And there'll be some card stock in our narthex that you might write prayers upon, and then place these personal prayers on a cross that we will have here in the sanctuary. You've seen that cross before. It'll be here on the floor in the sanctuary, and you can place your prayers there. And then on Easter morning, we will collect those prayers from the cross, and then we will take the cross outside over to our memorial garden, and we will put the cross upright in our memorial garden with lilies at its base. And we will have a small group of folks, less than 10. I know that some will feel they're being outsiders, so to speak, but this is the best we can do. We will have less than 10 people there to have a little time together, and God willing, we might be able to release some butterflies as well, as usual, with prayers that the social distancing need will cease and that we'll all be joined together very soon. And then from 10 o'clock to noon on Easter morning, we will set up a drive-through Holy Communion station right outside the entry to the sanctuary near the parking area here. So I and others, probably Kim and Steve, our deacons, maybe some others, will distribute the body and blood of our Lord Jesus Christ with the wine in individual cups and with the wafer. And of course, we will be inviting the outside community to join us as well at that time. So it's going to be quite an unusual, to say the least, Holy Week and Easter for us. But for sure, our risen Lord will be with us daily. And now I share with you the good news from the Holy Gospel of John in the 9th chapter, verses 1 through 41. So I invite you to remain seated, please. As he walked along, he saw a blind man from birth. his disciples asked him, Rabbi, who sinned, this man or his parents, that he was born blind? Jesus answered, neither this man nor his parents sinned. He was born blind, so that God's works might be revealed in him. We must work the works of him who sent me while it is day. Night is coming when no one can work. As long as I am in the world, I am the light of the world. When he had said this, he spat on the ground and made mud with the saliva and spread the mud on the man's eyes, saying to him, go, wash in the pool of Siloam, which means sent. And then he went and washed and came back, able to see. The neighbors and those who had seen him before as a beggar began to ask, is this not the man who used to sit and beg? Some were saying, it is he. Others were saying, no, but it is someone like him. He kept saying, I am the man. But they kept asking him, then how were your eyes opened? And he answered, the man called Jesus made mud, spread it on my eyes, and said to me, go to Siloam and wash. And then I went and washed and received my sight. And they said to him, where is he? And he said, I do not know. They brought to the Pharisees the man who had formerly been blind. Now it was a Sabbath day when Jesus made the mud and opened his eyes. And then the Pharisees also began to ask him how he received his sight. And he said to them, he put mud on my eyes. And then I washed, and now I see. Some of the Pharisees said, this man is not from God, for he does not observe the Sabbath. But others said, how can a man who is a sinner perform such signs? And they were divided. So they said again to the blind man, what do you say about him? It was your eyes he opened. He said, he's a prophet. The Jews did not believe that he had been blind and had received his sight until they called the parents of the man who had received his sight and asked them, is this your son, who you say was born blind? How then does he now see? And his parents answered, we know that this is our son, that he was born blind, but we do not know how it is that now he sees, nor do we know who opened his eyes. Ask him. He is of age. He will speak for himself. So his parents said this because they were afraid of the Jews. For the Jews had already agreed that anyone who confessed Jesus to be the Messiah would be put out of the synagogue. Therefore his parents said, he is of age, ask him. And so for the second time they called the man who had been blind, and they said to him, give glory to God. We know that this man is a sinner. He answered, I do not know whether he is a sinner. One thing I do know, that though I was blind, now I see. They said to him, what did he do to you? How did he open your eyes? And he answered them, I have told you already, and you wouldn't listen. Why do you want to hear it again? Do you also want to become his disciples? Then they reviled him, saying, you are his disciple, but we are disciples of Moses. The man answered, here is an astonishing thing. You do not know where he comes from, and yet he opened my eyes. We know that God does not listen to sinners, but he does listen to the one who worships him and obeys his will. Never since the world began has it been heard that anyone opened his eyes, the eyes of a person born blind. If this man were not from God, he could do nothing. They answered him, you were born entirely in sin, and are you trying to teach us? And they drove him out. Jesus heard that they had driven him out, and when he found him, he said, do you believe in the Son of Man? He answered, and who is he, sir? Tell me, so that I may believe in him. And Jesus said to him, you have seen him, and the one speaking with you is he. He said, Lord, I believe. And he worshipped him. Jesus said, I came into this world for judgment so that those who do not see may see, and those who do not see may become blind. Some of the Pharisees near him heard this and said to him, surely we are not blind, are we? Jesus said to them, if you were blind, you would not have sinned. But now that you say we see, your sin remains. And this is the gospel of our Lord. Amen. Now I want you to look at this picture and tell me what you see. So how are we going to do this, Chris?